There's only enough meals for the family. The room was filled with familiar voices and laughter. I remained silent, biting my lip. Ever since I arrived at my in-laws, I felt out of place. The truth became clear through my mother-in-law's words. I was the odd one out in this house. Not seen as part of the family, but rather as a stranger who had mistakenly wandered in. At least, that's how my mother-in-law saw me, and the other relatives seemed to follow her lead. Even Tom, my husband, couldn't stand up to his mother. He turned a blind eye even when she was being unfair to his own wife. Oh, well. I see how it is, Tom. Anna. Since you treat me as an outsider, I guess I have no choice. Outsiders might as well act the part. My name is Mirabelle Manson. I'm 27. Until marrying Tom 2 years ago, I worked at a certain company. I quit my job to become a full-time housewife upon getting married. Tom is 3 years older, making him 30 this year. He puts a lot of effort into his appearance, still looking like he's in his mid-20s. I was deceived by his looks, and that's how I ended up in my current situation. Anna, my mother-in-law, finds any excuse to drop by our house. Last week was my son's birthday, wasn't it? I wanted to celebrate. It gives me the impression that she hasn't quite let go of her son. She just can't help adoring him. And Tom doesn't seem to mind his mother's overbearing love. Mom's coming over? Well, that's fine. But, you found a reason to drop by last month too, didn't you? I really wish she would stop visiting so often. That's what I truly feel. But I find it hard to tell her not to come directly from my own mouth. I wish Tom would hint at it, at least, but he just laughs it off nonchalantly. Mom's cooking is delicious, after all. Tom. He clearly didn't seem to understand my struggle. My mother-in-law visits casually, but we live in an apartment. The number of rooms is limited. In this case, we have to give up our bedroom bed to my mother-in-law, and Tom and I end up sleeping in the living room. That's why we have blankets and pillows ready for sleeping in the living room. There's no space to lay out a pull-out bed, so we sleep on the sofa with pillows. Naturally, it's not comfortable. But what I'm really concerned about isn't that. Oh dear, you still haven't cleaned thoroughly, have you? There's dust accumulating by the window. As soon as she arrives, my mother-in-law starts inspecting the room. She finds some mistake of mine and talks as if it's a major blunder. You haven't cleaned? What about the air conditioner? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you can ignore it. Molds can be bad for your health. Yes, ma'am. She probably heard it on some TV channel's medical show derivative. With a tone that mimics the script she's seen, my mother-in-law makes her point. Perhaps she is conscious of her urban surroundings in her appearance, and she is dressed in youthful fashions throughout. But it doesn't suit her aged face at all. There's also the smell of cheap perfume. It was stronger than the scent of the food she's supposedly cooking. I wonder what my mother-in-law is making. As I smell it, I grow increasingly anxious. However, what she makes is just ordinary meat and potatoes. Tom raves about the meat and potatoes. Delicious! Mom really knows her way around the kitchen. Mirabelle, you should get some cooking tips from her. Yeah. I force a smile, but inside I'm sighing. Despite always praising my cooking, when his mother comes, it's all about her. Tom has always been a bit of a people pleaser, but it's gotten noticeably worse since we got married. Talent plays a part, doesn't it? Taking her son's compliments to heart, Anna is in a good mood. Yet, it feels like she's saying I lack talent. Moreover, Anna takes over the kitchen during her stay, leaving me without a place. I can help, you know. Even if I offer, Anna never agrees. Oh no, I want my son to eat well while I'm here. I'm concerned about nutritional balance too. I see. That's how she subtly treats me like an incompetent wife. And when I complain to Tom, he never takes my side. You're overthinking it. But Mom is just trying to help out, to lessen your load. Why not take it positively? Saying so, Tom looks annoyed. With Tom putting it that way, I'm left with nothing to say. I just nod in silence. The next morning, Anna comments. The bedroom really lacks any charm, doesn't it? Mother. My voice carries a hint of reproach. It's complicated enough having our bedroom used by her, but to add her unsolicited opinions makes it even worse. Yet, Anna doesn't care. Even your underwear is so plain. That's why you still haven't given me a grandchild. Mirabelle really lacks sex appeal, huh? Tom chuckles and agrees with Anna's opinion. To have this conversation right after waking up. I blush with embarrassment. Children are a blessing. But you two have been married for 2 years now. Not getting pregnant even once in that time. Anna said, carelessly stroking my stomach over my clothes. Despite being over the fabric, it was disturbing and shocking for me. Just in case, I picked out some lingerie that Tom would like. Why would you do that? It's obvious, isn't it? Because she wants to see her grandchild. Anna proudly shows off the flashy underwear with a big smile. I was at a loss for words. The design was frankly tacky, and I couldn't imagine wearing it. Yet, Tom cheered innocently. With this on, even Mirabelle will be oozing with sex appeal. Right? Anna looked pleased with herself. What do they think of me? I do want children someday. But not enough to degrade myself like this. Watching them get excited, ignoring my opinions and feelings, sadness welled up inside me. It's been 2 years since we got married. That's right. During that time, Tom never once took my side. He always avoids conflict, either going along with Anna or laughing along with her. It's a wife's duty to bear grandchildren. Anna suddenly declared. I realized that was truly what she believed. She doesn't care about my feelings at all. I had a tough time in this house until Tom was born, too. That's just how it is for daughters-in-law. I think that mindset is outdated. I found myself saying almost without thinking. Anna's face turned sour. Are you trying to argue with me? Come on, you two. Tom stepped in, probably realizing things were getting out of hand. Mirabelle, I think that way of speaking is questionable. Am I the one at fault here? Well, not fault, but... Tom faltered under my words and gaze. Anyway, why don't you guys get along with each other, okay? Exactly. Even if you can't do household chores properly or show me a grandchild, I'm still putting up with you. That was terrible. But if I argued back, Tom would probably side with Anna again. Either that or he'd make a troubled face and act like a victim. It's one or the other. I'm not wearing that underwear, you know. I said this as Anna got up to make breakfast. I know. Tom nodded, looking somewhat disappointed. But Mom is really thinking about us. She's even been visiting a church back home recently for praying. That's for her wanting a grandchild, not for us. I said, exasperated. Anna isn't interested in me personally. She's only interested in me as her son's wife and the potential mother of her grandchildren. By the way, we're having a family gathering at our place soon. Anna mentioned at breakfast. You're coming, right? When is it? I wonder if I can take time off work. The conversation was mostly between the two of them, and plans were made. It seemed we had agreed to go to Tom's parents' house next Sunday. The drive there takes about 2 hours, so we had decided to leave early in the morning. I wish Tom had adjusted the departure time a bit, considering I'm busy with household chores. But, of course, my opinion was ignored as usual. That's great. So, we'll see each other again next Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. The parent and child laughed together. Once again, I was left out. And so, the promised day arrived. Early Sunday morning. I woke up earlier than usual and started preparing breakfast. Tom was still asleep. Tom, wake up. You need to eat breakfast. Let me sleep a bit more. After much reluctance and staying in bed longer than planned, Tom finally said he didn't need breakfast. after all the effort I put into making it. Cooking is the wife's job, right? I work too, you should just do what you are supposed to do. Like mother, like son. Tom, pushing a similar doctrine, threw the breakfast I made in the trash right in front of me. Yet, during the car ride, he complained of hunger and stopped at a store. Everything tastes great when you're starving. Sure. I had no words to return, just sipped my coffee. Tom's family home was down a remote country road. Maybe the land was cheaper here because the houses around this area were all large, either single-story or two-story. Many homes had spacious yards, some with chickens or vegetable gardens. Tom's parents' home was no exception, a large single-story house. It was easy to spot from afar. As we got closer to the house, my mood darkened. When we arrived at the family home, Anna greeted us. Of course, her welcome was only for her son, Tom. Welcome back, Tom. Yeah, it's good to be home. Tom looked around nostalgically and smiled. I used to be attracted to that innocent smile. But now, I can see the indifference that's a part of Tom's nature, and I can't bring myself to like that smile anymore. I followed Tom through the entrance of the family home. The spacious living room was already filled with people. All of them were Tom's relatives. Hey everyone! Long time no see! As soon as he entered the room, Tom raised his voice cheerfully. The relatives turned to look at us. In no time, Tom became the center of attention. As for me, I was left behind, standing awkwardly at the entrance of the living room. The wives of the relatives all had their children with them. And me, being the only one without a child, was glanced at from afar, with them whispering among themselves. What an uncomfortable space to be in. I thought it would have been better if Tom had come to his parents' house by himself. Just then, Anna came over. It's a bit early, but shall we have lunch? Can I help with anything? We're ordering takeout, so it's fine. Her tone was dismissive. What should I do? I'm completely isolated. I had no choice but to sit down in an available seat. The cushions looked brand new, probably for guests. Tom was engrossed in conversation with his cousins. The seats on either side of me were empty. No one seemed inclined to sit there. Soon, the table was laden with food. It seemed Anna had gone all out to impress. At first glance, those takeout food was obviously high-end. What? I suddenly realized. There were enough small plates for everyone. Except me. Wondering if Anna had forgotten, I stood up to get my own. That's when Anna placed a cup of instant chicken noodle soup in front of me. As if feeding a stray dog. Here you go. What? Confused, I looked at Anna. She was smiling. Then she said those nightmare words. There's only enough meals for the family. Voices and laughter filled the room. I blinked in disbelief. Then it hit me. Ah, I see. To everyone gathered here, I'm an outsider. That's why no one talks to me, and why I'm treated this way. If you want to be recognized as a member of this family, you need to serve me more. And, more importantly, give me a grandchild as soon as possible. Is that so? I, too, found myself smiling. Everything seemed absurdly ridiculous. As always, Tom just silently endorsed his mother's actions. While the relatives were enjoying the high-end sushi without a care for me. A harmonious atmosphere flowed around them, and I was treated like an outsider. Ah, I see. If that's the case, it can't be helped. I had risen to my feet slowly. I understand very well. Unusually obedient, aren't you? Anna said to me with a disdainful smile. It seems she will always look down on me. Well then, how about starting with taking out the trash and weeding the garden? And... No, that's not what I mean. I stood up gracefully. A clear resolve in my heart. I'm leaving now. Did you even listen to me? As I headed for the entrance, Anna raised her voice in hysteria. I just told you to devote yourself to us. Don't you want to be recognized as a member of this house? Yes, I do. I nodded again and said, "But, it's okay because today will be the last day." "What?" It seemed she didn't quite catch on. Anna stood frozen with a dumbfounded expression. Reluctantly, I continued. "Being the daughter-in-law of this house ends today. From tomorrow, I'll return to my maiden name." "Wait, what do you mean by that?" Tom arrived, sensing the unease in the room. His face was tense. "You're joking, right?" "No, I'm serious. I've realized I can't live in this house anymore. So, I'm saying goodbye to this house and to you." Reluctantly, Tom took my hand and shook his head. I slowly brushed off his hand and said, "Let's get a divorce, Tom." "Mirabelle." "I've already decided." As I started to walk away, both of them chased after me, looking panicked. "You're going to leave my son over this?" "Ah, just shut up, Mom." "Hey, Mirabelle. It was my fault. I won't bring you to my parents' house anymore. I won't let you have a hard time again." I stopped at his words and glanced back. Our eyes met. Tom looked troubled. "So, please, Mirabelle. You knew this house was hard for me to be in. Yet, you ignored it? That's..." Tom stumbled over his words like a camel chewing its food. "This house upholds its traditions," Anna declared defiantly. "Running away instead of accepting them is disgraceful." "I'm fine with being disgraceful. I can't follow such outdated rules." Really, what era are they living in? This family isn't particularly wealthy or historically significant. They're just a gathering of country folks. Anyway, I'm going back to my own home. "Wait, just wait a minute." Anna looked flustered. I shrugged and said, "Aren't you being disgraceful too, clinging to a disgraceful daughter-in-law like me?" "What?" Anna's face turned pale. And then, a moment later, flushed red. Whether from anger or shame. Perhaps both emotions were present, but that was no concern of mine. "Wait. I'll forgive you now, so..." "No need for forgiveness. I'm not one of your minions, after all." It was, I think, a very reasonable argument on my part. Indeed, Anna fell silent at that. Reaching the entrance, I put on my shoes and looked back at Tom and Anna. They stood there, looking lost. "Goodbye." I said goodbye and left my in-laws' house. Getting into a taxi, I felt revived. The realization that I was free surged within me. What to do next? I began to ponder my immediate future concretely. First, return to my apartment and pack up my belongings. Then, go to my parents' house to fill out the divorce papers. Tom might not agree to the divorce easily, but I was determined to win my freedom, no matter what. If necessary, I'd consult a lawyer. And then, I organized my thoughts one by one. It was a fulfilling time. I won't be needing this. Suddenly remembering, I took off my wedding ring. A sense of comfort as if a spring breeze had blown through my heart. Not just the ring. The bed and other furniture shared with Tom were unnecessary. I had called the junk dealer. Beds, dressers, and such furniture that held traces of Tom, I sold them off. The selling price for each was low, but I didn't mind. On my way back to my parents' house, I stopped by a ramen shop. "I'll have the recommended ramen and dumplings, please." Coming right up. I ate the most expensive ramen set and a plate of dumplings and still had some money left over. Feeling full and slightly better, I called home. "So, that's the situation, I'm divorcing Tom." "That's terrible." My mother was outraged upon hearing my story. "Come home quickly. I can't leave my precious daughter in such a household." "I will." I got back into a taxi. My mother was waiting at the entrance of our home, looking worried. I felt sorry for causing her concern. "Sorry, Mom. No matter how old you get, you're still my daughter." Her smiling presence felt immensely comforting. Just then, my smartphone rang. It was Tom. His voice was trembling with anger. "What the hell did you do?" The apartment is empty. I just settled our joint property, I said nonchalantly. I left your personal belongings like toothbrushes and pillows, didn't I? You think I can live with just these? Then, just buy what you need. I couldn't help but be amazed at his audacity to catch me and make a fuss. But I've also terminated the apartment lease. You better find a new place or apartment quickly. What? His shocked reaction was clear even through his voice. This apartment was mine since before I was married. So, it's odd for Tom to continue living there after I move out, given that I'm the leaseholder. Yet, Tom seemed genuinely distressed. What have you done? I'm an outsider, after all, I said, shaking my head with resignation. The time I spent with you was a mistake. If it's a mistake, it needs to be corrected. You're giving up our furniture and the apartment over this. Yes. There's no other reason. If anything, this was a slight retaliation. Tom never stood by me till the end. There's also a sense of venting my frustration with that. So, goodbye. Wait, you're seriously thinking of leaving me? It's not like you have complaints about me. I do, that's why I'm leaving. My voice had a sharp edge. Tom still didn't get it. He thought I was divorcing just because I didn't like his mother and relatives, not realizing the issues were with him. How conceited. I used to be attracted to his confidence. But now, his arrogance is unbearable. You were never on my side. Mirabelle. You never defended me from your mother, nor did you introduce me as part of the family to your relatives. Just a cohabitant, expected to do chores. Who could accept being treated like that? At least, it was impossible for me. So, I'm hanging up now. Wait, hey, Mirabelle. I ended the call unilaterally. Turning to my mother, who looked anxious again, I forced a wry smile. As expected, Tom was not quick to agree to the divorce. Adding to the trouble was Anna. She persistently contacted me, again and again. Please reconsider. Abandoning my son like this. Abandoning? From the start, I was an outsider in that house. It's only natural for strangers to part ways. I have not a single shred of affection left for Tom. And Tom, he just used me without any real affection, didn't he? Don't speak about my son that way. Anna screamed as if she was the victim. I sighed in exasperation. Anna. Please, come back. I'll recognize you as our daughter-in-law now. Please. It's too late. Being recognized as a daughter-in-law now brought me no joy whatsoever. Plus, as I've said multiple times, I no longer want anything to do with Tom. I used to truly love Tom. But now, far from love, I feel only disgust for his heartlessness. It's impossible. I repeated firmly, choosing my words as if savoring my own feelings. Living with you and your son was like a nightmare. How can you say such a thing? Anna was angry, but I didn't engage further. Ending the call, I took a deep breath. A nightmare. Yes. With Tom's stable income, we never had to struggle financially. That's why there was this discomfort of being stuck in lukewarm water, unable to move. At the bottom of the bath, malice was settled. That malice became crystal clear during the incidents at Tom's family home. I will never return to that house. I murmured to myself and closed my eyes. I had seen a lawyer yesterday. Fortunately, I had been keeping a diary, which proved I had suffered mentally. I was told that if it went to court, I would undoubtedly win. That was a relief. But I was also tired. What if Tom came to the house? Before that, how long would I stay at my parents' house? I didn't want to worry them any further. At that moment, I was startled. The entrance was noisy. I left my room and headed to the entrance. I heard Anna's voice. Just call her out. That's not possible. I peeked from behind cover. My mother was facing Anna. Just like you care for your son, I care for my daughter. Can't you understand that? She's my daughter-in-law. Practically my own daughter. Anna was screaming hysterically. I was just disciplining the daughter-in-law. It's because you didn't educate your daughter properly that I had to be the disliked one. You should be thankful, really. My mother's selfish arguments exploded. In response, my mother was visibly shaking with anger. Grateful? Yes. Please, get over yourself. My mother's voice struck like thunder, piercing through Anna. Anna recoiled as if frightened. Since she was little, she's been a patient child. But when she came back home, I found gray hairs on her head, dark circles under her eyes, and she had lost her appetite. All thanks to your discipline, right? Well, that's because... Anna stumbled over her words, looking around helplessly. The daughter-in-law was just getting herself down. Don't you think you went too far? Anna seemed to lose her words completely. And bit her lip. Anna. I found the courage to step out from hiding. Now, I could face Anna. If you call it discipline. What do you want? Seeing me, Anna's face twisted in disdain. Was this the face that came to fetch me? Perhaps you should have properly educated your son first. Your behavior towards me was excessive. Yet, Tom didn't do anything to intervene, he just ignored it all. My son is a pacifist. A poor excuse. I shrugged. A true pacifist would have helped me and maintained balance in the house. Oh no. Anna groaned in frustration. I didn't let up. Your son did nothing. He just turned a blind eye to everything. That is. Anna's face contorted as she backed away. There was no escape. She was cornered into a dead end in the labyrinth of her words. I pressed on. Even now, it's just you getting worked up, while your son does nothing. I was tired of even uttering Tom's name. The fact that Tom was still legally my husband was unbearable. That's why I found myself referring to him as Anna's son. I thought to myself, this is truly beyond repair. Please leave. My mother said with a cold voice. I added. If you really want to talk to me, it should be your son, not you. But, my son is busy. Does that mean my divorce is not important to him? I stated the facts without any emotion. Tom was not agreeing to the divorce. But that was probably due to the hassle of proceedings and concern for social appearance. Mentioning the lawyer should make Tom back down. It was only Anna who was still clinging to me. A disgraceful daughter-in-law, right? Still holding on to that. I will hold on to it for life. I won't forget. I couldn't understand why I had to be unilaterally subjected to such dishonorable words. I will probably drag those words with me forever. That's why I questioned Anna. If your son is so great, he'll find a great wife. So why cling to me? Well, because he's shy, it's not easy for him to find another wife. Is that so? I wondered if that was too harsh, even if just for a moment. But in the end, I said it. I think it's your son who is disgusting, not me. How dare you? Anna's face turned bright red as she advanced on me. My mother intervened, standing between Anna and me as if to protect me. This is a matter between husband and wife. Shut up! Anna screamed, looking pathetic. My mother shook her head in dismay. Children, no matter their age, are precious to us. I understand that. But at the same time, they are adults. I know that. If you do know, then why are you, as a parent, meddling in adult matters? It was just then. Anna's smartphone rang. She hesitated before answering. Tom? I'm actually at your wife's parents' house right now, why? Because. Just stop it, Mom. Tom's exasperated voice could be heard. It's embarrassing, clinging to a wife who's left. Such a thing. It seemed she couldn't believe her own son would say that. Anna's mouth hung open, frozen. Mom, just come back home. There's nothing we can do about her. What do you mean, nothing we can do? I found myself retorting to Tom. Apologize. Huh? Apologize to me. Then I won't sue. Sue, you can't be serious. A perplexed silence ensued for a while. Eventually, in a small voice, Tom said, I'm sorry. What the heck? Anyway, Tom doesn't understand what he did wrong. He just complied with my words because he didn't like the idea of a lawsuit. That's all it was. After that, Tom quickly agreed to the divorce. He probably thought that making the issue any bigger would damage his social standing. But it was already too late. Because of what you and Mom did, the neighbors started rumors, and I got fired from my job. I see. Tom's update was delivered nonchalantly. I couldn't muster any sympathy. Nowhere to go without being laughed at. Both me and Mom. You're just going to wait for the rumors to die down, aren't you? You! Anger laced Tom's voice. But it was momentary. The next moment, Tom's tone softened. Come on, let's start over, Mirabelle. I'll make sure to keep away from Mom. She was on your side. It baffles me that he doesn't understand that. My side? She tried to bring me back for you. You're going to abandon someone like that? But if I choose Mom, then you. Such selfish words. I spat out. You're really heartless. I definitely can't be with someone like you. Mirabelle! It's not like that, you're important to me. That's why I had to reluctantly give up on my mother, not because I'm heartless. Tom was desperate, but those words didn't reach my heart. Goodbye. Don't contact me anymore. Wait, hey, Mirabelle. If you keep harassing me, I'll report you to the police. Saying that made Tom groan. It seemed he still had more to say. However, he eventually gave up, likely due to the mention of the police, and ended the call with a click of his tongue. Since then, there has been no contact from that mother and son. I caused trouble for you, Mom, didn't I? I said, and my mother returned a bitter smile. It's fine. When a child is in trouble, it's a parent's job to help. But this was a matter between husband and wife. I began to say, but then broke into a smile. Standing side by side in the kitchen, I thought to myself. At that moment, my mother was feeling the same as Anna. She couldn't help but protect her child because she loved her so much. Despite bringing up righteousness, you weren't following it either. Well, their parent got involved, so it became a matter of the parents, didn't it? My mother cleverly dodged my point. I'm so glad I wasn't born as the daughter of Tom's mother. I was truly and secretly proud to be my mother's daughter.